I think Quinn Hughes, he's their second best left side defenseman right now. I think he outplays all of them. He could outplay Del Zotto, Pouliot, and Hutton in his sleep. He's that good. But now that they're so loaded on defense, they've been unable to make trades. He's looking at this lineup going, where do I fit? You see that quote? Were you there when he had this quote? But I guess if I go back to Michigan, it's not the worst thing.
Right.
If they don't know where I fit in, I'm going back. Well,
what? You're looking at me like I'm supposed to have the
want
answer.
a reaction!
Oh. Well, you're getting one from these fine people. I heard the quote, too. The takeaway for me was the thing about going back to Michigan wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. He wants to be here, obviously.
Right.
Any young kid would want to be in the National Hockey League. He's remarkably confident. That was my takeaway that was my first time being around Quinn Hughes yesterday at the rink. First time talking to him. I wasn't at the draft. So, the kid is polished. He handles himself well. In his mind, I think he thinks he's ready. He's confident without being cocky, but man, is he self-assured. And so he should be. He's a hell of a player. But he's small. Damn, is he small.
He knows that. Wait till you see, he's not as thin as Pettersson, who's going to be playing center sooner than later.
Different positions, obviously.
Yeah.
It's one thing to go to a summer prospect camp like this and try to make assessments on a guy. He's been on the ice twice.
But if Troy Stecher, at his size, can go to college, step into the NHL, and scored 24 points in his first season. 24. He had a great first season. Right away.
All defensemen seem to here have a great
Good
first season.
Then it falls apart.
Yeah.
No, if Troy Stecher can do that, Quinn Hughes can do that. He's more than capable of doing that. He would be great here on a sheltered third pairing with big time power play opportunities. He'd be great, and I can see why. And they want to sign him, and I see why. I know why they want to sign him, but I also see it from his perspective. And when he's looking at the left side and he sees Edler, and he sees Pouliot, and he sees Del Zotto, who the coach just loves, and he sees Hutton all ahead of him right now,
Yep.
He has to think to himself, okay, is Green going to side to the young guy who's skating around going wild in training camp, or is he going to side with the veterans that he knows and likes? And I think most people would answer that he's going to side with the veterans.
Well, you were there on Sunday when Jim was made available after free agency, and once we got through all the questions about Beagle and Roussel and Schaller, I asked about the fact that, look, 7 of the defensemen are under contract. Stetcher's going to get a deal.
8.
And remember that last day of last season, media availability, and Travis Green pounded on the desk about, I need more from my defense. I need more offense. And I said to Jim, are you prepared to come back with this same group? Because right now, and that doesn't include Quinn Hughes, but they've got all these bodies. There's a massive logjam. And then Jim says, well, maybe Quinn Hughes plays, and we've got Ola Ulevi.
Right,
what world are we living in? They're
Okay,
not both going to be here on opening night.
No, but I think that they should be both given a chance to be in the opening night roster. Someone's got to move, okay? And I do understand it from the Canucks' perspective that if you are gonna make a move, it's worth it to do it before you sign Hughes. Once you sign Hughes, I think other teams know you're desperate. Know you've got to unload one of those left side guys. I think it makes sense to me to wait on signing Hughes, try to trade Hutton or Del Zotto, and I think both of them are tradable if you retain half their salary. I think if you retain half the salary on Hutton, I think that then it becomes worth it for opposing teams to take a chance on him. This is a guy who was a top 4 defenseman for long stretches in the NHL. When he was with Chris Tanev this year, he was just fine. At the beginning of the season, he was just fine. And when he gets pinned with Goodbranson, not so fine, right? I think a team would take a chance on him. And I think Del Zotto, with his skill set at $1.5 million, you half it, retain half. That to me looks tradable. So I think you move one of those guys to me, then you sign. Then you say to Quinn Hughes, look, we're not rolling out the red carpet. There's not a clear spot for you. We've got Pouliot, who can also play the right side. We've got Edler, and we've got one of Hutton or Del Zotto. But if you play great, you are going to be on this team. And I think that to me would be a roadmap to try to fix this offseason. I think that they have to do some things from here till September to fix the offseason. I'm not saying they can't. Last year was Vanek in September 1, a great signing. That saved the offseason. You look at all the guys they got on July 1, brutal. Like Nilsson played himself off the team. 2 of them had their contracts rescinded. Another one, Sam Gagner, huge disappointment. Right?
Yep.
But they saved the offseason when they got Vanek. They can still save this offseason. But right now, I know that there are some fans that are frustrated and angry and disappointed. I understand that because I'm feeling that too.
All right, so you got Beagle, you've got Roussel. I mentioned Schaller to a lesser degree, but you're not doling out 1.9 mil for, like, I've seen people say, oh, you park him in Utica. Like,
Who?
Tim Schaller. Like,
He's not going to Utica.
Right. So now, whether they fix the depth issue or not, they've got this. I mean, they got log jams at every position, but
Well,
what happens with all the? There's so many
Yeah.
tweeners now.
I counted up 20 forwards that would, if you include Mott, you include Jonathan Dallin, you include Boucher, you include Archibald, you work yourself up to 20, and that includes guys like Goldobin and Gauntz, who appear to be on their way out. They both appear. I think Gauntz gets traded. That's what I think is going to happen. I think that Goldobin requires waivers. Gauntz requires waivers. Vertanen is another guy. He's going to be on the team, but he requires waivers now. Yeah. Mott's a game away from requiring waivers. They can't risk losing especially a guy like Goldobin, 22 years old. He looked really good. Like, I think it's lost on a lot of people how good he was from mid-February to the end of the season. He was one of their better players defensively, one of their better forwards in terms of possession. He was right at the top. It was him, Horvat, and Daniel Sedin that led the team in even strength points per 60 minutes played. Goldobin was good. He was good down the stretch. He was getting it. He was figuring things out. That's why I had him as a target to say, like, let's give him an opportunity and trade a more established guy like Berchi. But they passed on that.
Well, they didn't just.
3 years.
I was going to say, they didn't just pass on that. Sven Berchi gets 3 years and
Double down.
10 mil. What do you make of that contract?
I mean, that's okay. Like, I mean, I like Berchi better than Sam Gagner. So what? He's making a little bit more than Sam Gagner is. I think Berchi has a chance. If you look at the past 3 years, he's got one of the highest shooting percentages in the league. The problem with him, if he stays healthy any of these seasons, he's going to be a 20-goal guy. I think he's always been on pace for 17, 18 goals. He's been right on pace, but he gets hurt. He gets hurt a lot, and I'm not sure that there's an easy fix for that. Because he's not the biggest, strongest guy, and he gets hit into the boards, there's multiple opportunities for him to get injured over the course of a season.